I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Friday, April the 10th, 2015. A Palestinian youth was reportedly shot and killed, and 2 Palestinians were injured during clashes with IDF forces today near the West Bank Arab town of Beit Umar, which is north of Hebron. This is according to Palestinian reports. The incident happened when violent riots broke out during a funeral procession for a former Palestinian prisoner who died shortly after his release and whom the Palestinians blame Israel for his death. According to reports, approximately 700 Palestinians began throwing rocks and firebombs at IDF units in the area of the funeral. Soldiers responded reportedly with non-lethal force, including the use of rubber bullets. The incident is in the midst of being investigated. French news agency AFP reports that Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas is set to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow next week. Citing Russian authorities, AFP said the leaders will discuss their own relations and also address the currently stalled peace talks between the PA and Israel. Reuters reports that for the first time, armed and uniformed Palestinian police have been deployed in 3 areas of the West Bank near East Jerusalem. According to Palestinian and Israeli sources cited, the Palestinian police were deployed in Abu Dis, Al-Ram, and Bidu this week, mostly to target criminals in the area and to maintain public order. The deployment was done in coordination with Israeli authorities. The towns have been under Israeli security control since the Oslo Accords in 1993. The only kosher delicatessen in Copenhagen was vandalized Wednesday night. Local papers said police discovered the front window smashed and walls spray painted with anti-Semitic graffiti, including the words "Jewish pigs," early Thursday morning. The deli is said to be owned by an Israeli who moved to Denmark 22 years ago. During regular business hours, the deli is protected by an armed security guard who was put into place after attacks in the city this past February, which included the gunning down of Jewish volunteer security guard Dan Uzan outside a synagogue in the city. The Israeli ambassador to Denmark, Baruch Bina, told Ynet that a fundamental change was needed in the country. Bina said that he had just visited the Danish parliament, where the flag was flown at half-mast to commemorate the 75th anniversary of the German invasion of Denmark. He said, "I remembered the incredible journey made by the Danish people to rescue the Jewish community from the jaws of the Nazis in October 1943, and today we stand in front of a shattered window belonging to the only kosher store in Copenhagen." Local police said they were taking special care in investigating. Compensation from the auction of a painting by French impressionist Claude Monet, stolen by the Nazis, will be given to the heirs of its owner. Haystacks at Giverny was painted in 1885. It will be auctioned at Christie's next month, and a portion of the sale will go to the heirs of French Jewish art dealer René Gimpel, who was killed in a Nazi concentration camp. Haystacks is estimated to be worth between $12 and $18 million. Gimpel was detained by the Nazi-allied Vichy government in France at the outbreak of the war, and it is believed he was forced to sell the Monet. Gimpel was later sent to the Neuengamme concentration camp, where he died. Russia has opened the first museum to Jewish Nobel-winning poet Joseph Brodsky. Brodsky was persecuted for his Jewish heritage and for his poetry, which was denounced as anti-Soviet. He was sent into exile by the Soviets in 1964 at the age of 23. The museum is the remote house he lived in the village of Norinskaya, where he was exiled from March of '64 until October of '65. Brodsky left Russia in the '70s and made his home in the U.S. He won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1987 and became Poet Laureate of the U.S. in 1991. He died in Brooklyn in 1996. Forbes reports that Israel is the 3rd largest provider of content on American TV after Great Britain and the Netherlands. Israeli companies Armoza, Keshet, and Dor Media lead the effort, with TV shows like In Treatment on HBO and, of course, Homeland on Showtime. Consul General of Israel in New York, Ido Aharoni, told Forbes that Israeli filmmakers learned how to tell a story and that Hollywood recognized the great pool of talent. And with the end of Passover approaching tomorrow, Saturday night, a tradition once only celebrated by Jews of Moroccan and Algerian descent will be enjoyed by many across Israeli society. The Mimuna celebration marks the permissible use after Passover is over of flour, chametz. It has now become much more widespread in Israel, where people from all sectors of life will enjoy sweets and pastries with friends and family. Director of the Philosophy Department at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, Dr. Meir Buzaglo, sees this as a positive sign, a bridge between Jews of Sephardic descent and Jews of Ashkenazi descent. Buzaglo said nobody ever thought that this holiday had the potential to be a day of national mutual reciprocity. He said the holiday has a very important role in Israel, a land of divisions. And that's the JBS News Update for Friday, April the 10th, 2015. Remember, live Shabbat services are coming up at 6 tonight from New York City's Central Synagogue. I'm Teisha Bader. Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach.